Lord of the Rings Ismael Cruz Córdova shares why becoming Middle-earth's first Latino elf felt like a mission. This is a short article from people.com, a website reporting on entertainment, lifestyle, celebrities, etc. So, not really your most in-depth website, but it has this nice short article with a few sentences from the actor playing the fictional character of Arondir in the Rings of Power Amazon's upcoming show, which adapts the Second Age, but only the Second Age, from the appendices of The Return of the King. So, this actor feels like it is a mission to play the first Latino elf. And first of all, what needs to be said is that there were no Latino elves, because there is no Latin America in Middle-earth, and people who are saying that Middle-earth is geographically roughly the same area as our modern continents, well, they haven't read the foreword, they don't know what Tolkien wanted to tell in his story, because he is quite clear on that. I'll quickly show what he wanted and what he actually said about bringing in real-world topics like Latino elves into the world. As for any inner meaning or message, it has in the intention of the author none. It is neither allegorical nor topical. So this is from the foreword to the second edition of The Lord of the Rings, found in the Fellowship of the Ring. So what does Tolkien mean by this? He basically means that his world isn't an allegory. So it isn't a one-on-one transition from the real world to the second world. It is not. Numenor is not something that you can place at the equator on our modern world, because the worlds are not the same. It is also not topical, so it doesn't apply to modern visions, it doesn't apply to modern events. It just doesn't. He didn't want to do that at all. He wanted to separate his second world from the primary world, and he did a great job in that. But because we want to do something in entertainment called adapting shows and franchises to a modern worldview, it just falls apart, because it doesn't fit in Tolkien's universe to put all our modern messages into his writings. So it is important in the real world to have diversity and representation. That is important. But it is really important in a fictional world, where in a piece of literature you can immerse yourself as anyone. It's called imagination, and Tolkien didn't have anything against that, because he says it himself, that he wants the reader to be able to imagine himself, herself into this world. But his writings are quite clear if it comes to any real-world connections. So his world has no real-world connections. It draws inspiration from the real world. It draws inspiration from Germanic myths, from Celtic influences, from Greek influences in philosophy. But it isn't a one-on-one transition of these things. Inspiration is not the same as an allegory. So it is quite clear what Tolkien wanted. So having said this, we can return to the article, which doesn't say much. But yeah, you see, after 7 months of auditioning, he was finally cast as Arondir, and his role is said to be historic. So the first Latino elf? No. There are no Latino elves, because it isn't the modern world. He can be a wood elf. He can be an elf from Lothlorien, from Rivendell. Sure, but no Latino elf, because it doesn't make sense in what world Tolkien wanted to create. He also says that he didn't see himself represented, which is often the case with minority groups in entertainment, for example, from the USA or England or Northwestern Europe in general. So this is something that is brought up a lot, but in the literature you can immerse yourself because you can imagine yourself into this piece of literature. And adaptation is different because it's based on actual source material, and if you want to stay true to the source material, sometimes minorities are not represented. So the actor playing Arondir is feeling that it is a mission to become this elf, and I have nothing against the actor, so I understand why he finds it so important to be represented, but also I just feel like this is too much of himself going into the character by saying that. I mean, it is himself he wants to see represented. So I only hope that he takes on the role of an elf, that he can immerse himself as an elf, and that he doesn't immerse himself as Ismael Cruz Córdova in this show. So anyway, that's it for this article. Let me know in the comments what you think, and see you in the next one.